What if I told you that one simple habit, a habit many ignore or even defend, is silently stealing your strength, draining your energy, and robbing you of the confidence you once had? You wake up feeling tired, distracted, unmotivated, and no matter how many promises you make to yourself, you fall back into the same cycle again and again. But what if the secret to breaking that cycle, to unlocking true self mastery, clarity, and inner power has been right in front of you this entire time? Stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll never look at this habit the same way again. Let's talk about something uncomfortable, something almost every man deals with but rarely discusses openly: masturbation. Society calls it harmless, natural, even healthy. But have you ever stopped to truly question that belief? Have you ever noticed how you feel afterward, that moment of emptiness, guilt, or the quiet drop in motivation that follows? You tell yourself it's nothing, but deep down, something inside you knows it's costing you more than you realize. The ancient Stoics, men like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, understood something about human desire that modern society seems to have forgotten. They believed that every act of indulgence has a hidden price. To them, pleasure wasn't evil, but the loss of control that comes with it was the true danger. When you live as a slave to your impulses, you give away your most valuable possession, your self command. They taught that power doesn't come from chasing comfort. It comes from mastering your inner world, your thoughts, urges, and emotions. And when you fail to control them, they control you. Here's the truth: every time you give in to this habit, your brain releases an intense rush of dopamine, the same chemical linked to addiction. It floods your mind with pleasure, tricking you into feeling accomplished when in reality, you've achieved nothing. Over time, your brain becomes desensitized. The more you indulge, the more you crave it, and the less satisfaction you get from real experiences, from love, purpose, or genuine success. This constant craving for instant pleasure rewires your mind. Your focus weakens. Your willpower crumbles. The goals you once had, building your body, pursuing your dreams, or improving your life, begin to fade because your brain has been trained to choose easy pleasure over meaningful struggle. The Stoics warned against this trap centuries ago. They believed that the man who cannot rule over his desires will eventually be ruled by them. And that's exactly what happens. You become reactive instead of proactive, chasing impulses instead of leading your life with purpose. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you truly felt in control? The last time you looked in the mirror and saw strength instead of shame? Because that power, that sense of grounded confidence, isn't gone forever. It's waiting beneath the layers of distraction and temporary pleasure you've built over time. When you abstain, when you stop giving your energy to this endless cycle, something incredible happens. Your focus sharpens. Your voice becomes firmer. Your presence changes. You walk differently, think differently, speak differently. It's not magic. It's energy, the life force that once scattered into fleeting moments of gratification now redirected into growth, discipline, and purpose. This is not about guilt or repression. It's about awareness. It's about realizing that your attention, your drive, your creative energy are not infinite. Every time you give in, you're spending that energy on nothing. The Stoics understood that real freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want, it's the strength to resist what weakens you. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the essence of Stoicism, reclaiming sovereignty over your mind. Because the moment you start saying no to what drains you, you begin saying yes to everything that builds you. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start steering it with intent. You stop seeking comfort in fantasy and start finding purpose in reality. And the moment that shift happens, everything changes. Imagine waking up every morning with discipline instead of regret. Imagine channeling your sexual energy into creation, into your career, your body, your goals, your mission. That same energy that's been wasted can become the fuel for your transformation. But it all begins with a decision, a single act of rebellion against your weaker self. It won't be easy. The urges will come. The mind will tempt you with excuses. But remember what the Stoics taught: every challenge is a test of character. Each time you resist, you grow stronger. Over time, the cravings fade, and what replaces them is far greater clarity, confidence, and an unshakable sense of control. You begin to notice how different life feels when you're no longer ruled by fleeting impulses. Your conversations feel deeper. Your mind feels sharper. You become a man who stands firm in a world addicted to distraction. That's the essence of true masculinity, not dominance over others, but dominance over self. So ask yourself, what kind of man do you want to be? One who gives in to every urge, or one who channels his energy into purpose and power? Because the moment you take back your control, you'll realize that the thing you thought was giving you pleasure was actually stealing your potential. And that's when you understand the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, that pleasure is temporary, but discipline is freedom. This is the reflective psyche, where we don't just seek knowledge, we seek transformation. Remember, mastery begins the moment you decide that your mind, your energy, and your destiny are your own again. You see, the illusion of pleasure is seductive because it gives you a false sense of achievement. Every time you indulge in this habit, your brain releases dopamine as if you've conquered something great, but in truth, nothing has been built. No progress has been made. You've already received your reward, yet accomplished nothing of real value. The Stoics understood this long before modern science confirmed it. They warned that those who seek pleasure without purpose eventually destroy their strength, their will, and their peace of mind. Seneca once wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." And that's exactly where the path to true freedom begins, with self-discipline. Epictetus said, "No man is truly free who is not master of himself." And that's where transformation starts. The moment you decide to stop being a slave to your desires is the moment you start reclaiming your power. But self-discipline isn't about punishment or denial. It's about choice. It's about choosing what's valuable over what's easy, what's meaningful over what's momentary. Every time you resist the urge, you strengthen the muscle of your mind. You're training your spirit to rise above instinct and emotion. With each victory, no matter how small, you regain a piece of your strength, your clarity, and your pride. Over time, your impulses lose their hold on you because they no longer control the one thing that truly matters: your attention. The Stoics believed that discipline is the foundation of peace. A man who cannot control himself is constantly at war within, but a man who can master himself becomes unshakable. That's the first principle. Second, find your purpose. You can't simply cut out a habit. You must replace it with something greater. The Stoics warned that an idle mind will always return to indulgence because nature abhors a vacuum. If you remove pleasure without giving your soul something meaningful to pursue, you'll fall right back into the same pattern. So ask yourself, what are you working toward? What gives your life direction? When your mind is engaged in creation, when you're building a business, sculpting your body, writing, learning, or mastering a craft, you don't have time for meaningless indulgence. You begin to realize how little satisfaction there is in empty pleasure compared to the deep fulfillment that comes from progress and purpose. This is why so many men today feel lost. It's not that they lack willpower, it's that they lack meaning. They're drowning in distraction because they've forgotten their mission. But once you give your energy direction, the same fire that used to burn you begins to build you. Purpose isn't found, it's created. It grows each time you commit to something higher than yourself. Every day you pursue growth. Every day you refuse to waste your potential. You move closer to becoming the man you are meant to be. Third, transmutation, redirecting your energy. Ancient philosophers Artists and warriors understood something modern men rarely do, that sexual energy is not a curse to suppress, but a force to transform. It's the rawest, most potent life energy within you. When it's wasted, your vitality drains away. But when you learn to channel it into your vision, your work, your fitness, your focus, it becomes the engine of unstoppable drive. Think of it as alchemy, turning desire into determination, lust into leadership, impulse into inspiration. This is the essence of transmutation. Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest minds in history, lived by this truth. He remained celibate not because he feared desire, but because he understood its power. He redirected his energy toward invention, vision, and genius. The same energy that most men spend on temporary pleasure, he invested into shaping the future. Now, this doesn't mean you must reject your humanity, it means learning to master it. Your energy is sacred. When you protect it, preserve it, and direct it, your life begins to move differently. Your confidence radiates. Your presence becomes magnetic. People can feel that you're not scattered or restless. You're grounded, controlled, and alive. And that's the secret most never discover. The real power isn't in avoiding pleasure forever, it's in knowing that you don't need it to feel whole. You've found something deeper, something eternal. The Stoics would call this virtue the alignment of your thoughts, actions, and purpose. When you live this way, your desires no longer enslave you. Instead, they serve you. They remind you that energy is precious and meant to create, not to waste. So every time the urge comes, don't see it as an enemy. See it as energy asking for direction. Channel it into your work. Transform it into art. Use it to train harder, think clearer, and push further. Let it build your empire instead of draining your strength. Because when you do that, you'll start to notice something profound. Your body feels lighter, your mind sharper, your confidence unshakable. You're no longer a prisoner of your impulses, you're their commander. And this is what Stoicism has always taught, not to run from desire, but to rise above it. To live as a master, not a slave. To choose discipline over decay and purpose over pleasure. So the next time you're tempted to fall back, remember, you're not just fighting an urge, you're forging a new identity. You're becoming the kind of man who values strength over surrender, creation over consumption, power over pleasure. That's the true meaning of freedom, the ability to command yourself in a world that constantly tries to control you. This is the reflective psyche, where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening. Remember, the path to mastery doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins the moment you decide to rise. The Stoics preached one powerful truth: stop wasting your energy on temporary pleasure and use it to fuel your ambition, your creativity, and your discipline. The same force that weakens men when misused can forge legends when harnessed. Every drop of energy you save becomes a spark for creation, for something lasting, something real. Now imagine this: waking up every day with unbreakable confidence, no guilt, no weakness, no fog. Just pure, unstoppable energy. You feel alive, focused, and in control. Your mind is sharp, your body powerful, your spirit unshaken. That's what happens when you break free from this habit. Your testosterone levels rise. Your mental clarity intensifies. Your drive to achieve skyrockets. But most importantly, you regain control of the one thing that defines true freedom, your mind. That's what the Stoics meant by liberation. It was never about rejecting desire entirely, but about rising above it, turning it into strength instead of letting it consume you. Quitting isn't the goal, becoming is. This is about transforming into the man you were meant to be: disciplined, focused, and fearless. So now comes the real question: will you stay trapped in the same loop, or will you take control? Will you keep letting a hollow habit steal your potential, or will you rise above it? The choice is yours, but remember this: no great man in history was ruled by his desires. The ones who shaped the world, who left their mark, were the ones who mastered themselves first. This is your moment. The decision you make today determines the man you'll be tomorrow. Break free. Reclaim your strength. Begin your journey to self-mastery right here, right now. This is the Reflective Psyche. Your awakening begins today.